All right, so there's one kind of special case about when we do distribution is this one. 2x full times 2x plus 1 times, you know what, because this is going to be the first time for some students, I'm going to make it simpler. 2x plus 1 times, sorry, x plus 1 times x minus 1. You see that? This is special case. You have x, you have x, you have 1, you have 1, but here is addition, but over here is subtraction. If you FOIL this, something funny happens. If you FOIL it like that, and then like this, and this time this, and this time this, these four terms, see what happens. X times x becomes x squared. X times now this one times this one becomes negative x. And then positive 1 times x becomes positive x, positive 1x, which is the same as positive x. And then positive 1 times negative 1, these last two terms, which is going to be negative 1, right? And the funny part is this. These are opposite of each other. They cancel. Negative x plus x is just 0. It cancels, right? So what's left is x squared minus 1. And if you compare this with the standard form, which is supposed to be ax squared plus bx plus c, so what happened to bx? This is what you have. You have x squared plus c. C is equal to negative 1. Ax squared is equal to x squared, which it means a is equal to 1. So what happened to bx? It's already there, but somehow gone because it's 0x. Because it's like that. When we didn't write it, we don't need to write it. Means b is equal to 0. And it's gone from there. That's why it turned into this form, x squared minus 1. So anytime you see that x is missing, like this part is missing, why it's missing? Because the coefficient, this number, this b was 0. 0 times x became 0 and it's gone. So that's why. So anytime you see this, means b is equal to 0. Like this case, b is equal to 0, a is equal to 1, and c is equal to negative 1. Anyway, you're not going to use much this b and then a and c. This is the factoring. This x squared minus 1 is also funny, and I'm going to show that to you right now. Now, let's say you have x squared minus 1, and they're asking factor this, x squared minus 1. So to factor this, we just did it opposite of that. Actually, we figured that x minus 1 times x plus 1 turns out to be like this, x squared minus 1. Therefore, any time that you see x squared minus 1, you're going to write it like this. That means x minus 1 times x plus 1. This is one example. Now I'm going to change that. I'm not going to use this x squared minus 1. Let's come up with something else. Let's say x squared minus 25. So this is called difference of squares, like the previous case, like this one. X squared minus 1. 1 is a perfect square, means 1 times 1, 1. This means x times x, x. And this is always negative for difference of squares. When you have such a case, which in this case we have it, this is a perfect square, means 5 times 5, that's 5 squared. And this one is x times x, which is x squared, and you have minus in between. This can be factored out into this x minus 5 times x plus 5. You need to memorize that. You can check that. You do it a couple of times, then you'll learn that, oh, that's why. So see, you multiply this by this, you get x squared. You multiply this by this, you get plus 5x. You multiply this by this, you get, oh, that's x. You multiply this by this, you get negative 5x. You multiply this by this, you get negative 25, right? You see, this cancels. Negative 5x and plus 5x cancels, you get x squared minus 25. That's called difference of squares. These are conjugate of each other, and this is called difference of squares. Why? Because it's difference of squares. Means these two numbers are squared. One more, like this one. More complicated. It doesn't matter. As long as you can write as a difference of squares, you can factor it into the form that we just talked about. I can write this as a difference of squares. That's same as 2x, all of that squared, because 2x times 2x is 4x squared. And I can factor the second term into 5y, all of that squared, because 5y times 5y is 25y squared. And there's negative in between. So that's the difference of squares. And it can be written like this: 2x minus 5y times 2x plus 5y. So factored.